If you've ever wondered why some books on Amazon seem to take off while others barely get noticed, then this video will open your eyes. We're diving deep into behind-the-scenes factors that make or break your success on Amazon KDP. And in this video, I'm exposing the biggest KDP listing mistakes that quietly destroy your organic rankings and keep your book hidden from buyers. I'll show you what those mistakes look like in real life, how to avoid them before you publish, and how to fix them if your book is already live. You'll see real-life examples from our community, and there won't be any hype, no fluff, and just honest, practical advice to help you finally understand how Amazon really works and how to use it to your advantage. Alright, so let's get right into this video. And just quickly, in case you're new to this channel, Cleo and I have sold over 240,000 books on Amazon between our different KDP accounts. And we also have a free Facebook group with 230,000 authors in it, and you're welcome to join that. And with Self-Publishing Titans, we have helped over 300,000 authors publish their books on Amazon. So that's just a quick thing about us, and let's get right into this. So here we have our first listing that we will look at, and we can see that currently they're getting 0 sales. And we can see that with our Self-Publishing Titans Chrome extension. So let's figure out why this is. So we'll start by looking at the title, and that says Awakening the Silent Metabolism. Slow metabolism is a powerful ally. Discover how to speed up your metabolism, lose weight, boost your energy, and live longer. So overall, the title is fine. There's no spam keywords in it, no duplicate words, and kind of to the point, and it clearly communicates what the book is about, which is great. The only thing that is slightly missing is an exact match long tail keyword of what people are searching for exactly, but that can also be addressed with your 7 backend keywords. What we do like is that we have slow metabolism, which is a keyword. Speed up your metabolism is a keyword, losing weight is a keyword, boost your energy is also fine, and live longer. So those are kind of broad keywords, which is great. So the only thing that we now need to fully target in your 7 backend keywords would be long tail keywords that are kind of niche down, don't have a lot of competition, and still have a good amount of search volume and demand. And for that we can also use the Self-Publishing Titans Chrome extension. So if we just type in any keyword, for example, then the Chrome extension will open up, and then here we can see all of Amazon's search suggestions, as well as the estimated monthly search volume, the results, which is the amount of competitors for each of these keywords, and then the popular demand and opportunity scores. So ideally we find long tail keywords that have an opportunity and demand score of 5 or higher, and then those would be great keywords to have in your 7 backend keywords. And for any future books you create, those would be the best ones to have in your title or subtitle, depending on how that fits. So that would be my first tip for your title. Then the other thing is that we don't really need a period at the end of your subtitle. That is not really a common practice on Amazon. And then the last slight improvement that could be made with this title is here on the title we capitalized all the correct words, and then we started doing that with your subtitle, but then suddenly we just kind of stopped capitalizing the words besides the first one after a sentence. So having multiple sentences is also kind of unusual when it comes to titles and subtitles. But then here we can also see that nothing else is capitalized. So it's kind of treated as just a sentence, which is not ideal for a title or subtitle. So this is just another thing that we can improve. And all these little mistakes and missed opportunities and errors like that, they all kind of add up to why a book isn't selling. So even if something is a small reason, if you have enough of them, it becomes one large reason of why no one bought the book. And since this is a how-to book with 200 pages, we definitely want it to be the most professional book possible. So moving right along, let's look at the cover here. So it says Awakening the Silent Metabolism, and then Slow Metabolism as a Powerful Ally. So that's fine. Overall, I like the cover. Looks kind of clean and fine. The one improvement that I would suggest we make here is we move the text a little bit higher up. Right here we have a lot of empty space, but then the text in the gray box here is covering the sun and the leaf. So if we just move it all up slightly higher, then we can avoid covering any of the designs, and I think that will look slightly nicer. And then we could move the author name down just a little bit to not cover as much of this image. So those will be my personal preferences to make slight improvements on this, but otherwise this looks okay. So next let's look at the book type. So we can see we have the Kindle book, and you chose to go with the Kindle Unlimited Unlimited as well, which is great. I always encourage people to take full advantage of the Kindle Unlimited program. I think the more exposure you can get, the better. And then here we have a paperback version, which is good. The only thing that we could add, since this is quite a long book, is an audiobook version. So you could either narrate that yourself or hire somebody on Fiverr to do that for you. Totally up to you, but the more book formats that we have, the better, because each one of them can rank individually on Amazon for your main niche and keywords. So the more book types you have, the higher your chances of possible success are, and especially in the long term. So that'll be one extra tip here. Now let's look at your description. So here we have quite a long description, which I like. So that's great for putting in so much effort. The one thing I see missing, however, unfortunately, is your bullet points. So every book description should have 5 bullet points, and ideally they are right near the top, so a buyer can read that without clicking the read more button. And your 5 bullet points are actually the most important part of your description. So not having that is definitely a missed opportunity, because a potential buyer can easily glance at those to see if they're interested in this book or not. And the truth is that not everybody will read a full description, or doesn't have time for it, or just not in the mood to read so much text. So by having bullet points, it just really quickly gives them the data that they might need or are looking for. So that'll be my tip here. Let's continue scrolling down. Okay, so you have A+ content, which is great. This is definitely getting more and more important as Amazon is getting more and more competitive. And I like that we have nice lifestyle images and a little bit of text. So you did good on that. The only one suggestion I might have is maybe flipping some images or having text on the other side. So it's not just all text on the right side. And this is something you could try out, alternating between text on the right side and left side and right side, just to make it slightly more interesting. But otherwise, I like the images that you chose. I think you did a great job on that, so well done. And next, let's look at your categories. Your categories are also really important, because Amazon does use them to understand what your book is about, and also uses your categories as part of the search algorithm. So if you choose categories that don't match your book, then Amazon can have a misunderstanding of what your book is about and not rank you for the right keywords, or not rank you at all. So let's take a look here. So the first one is aging, medical conditions and diseases, and then aging parents Kindle store and aging Kindle. So those are all fine. The only other thing I would suggest is, since this is also about losing weight, is choosing a category that is about weight loss and things like that, and not all about aging, because right now it's kind of a bit repetitive. So ideally we also get categories that have different keywords in it, just to overall complement your book listing even more. So that'll be a slight improvement on that. But otherwise you did choose categories that seem semi-relevant, which is good. These are just small improvements we can make. And in here we can see there's no reviews. So as Amazon is getting more and more competitive, I definitely encourage having at least a few reviews, just to help you get a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate. And in case you don't know how to get your first readers, you can look at the Self-Publishing Titans Advanced Reader Copy service, or any other alternatives. Also find just whatever you find is most suitable for your books and your needs, and then just go with that. So that would be my feedback for your listing. And let's get right into this one, which is also not looking too good. And here we can see this book has never gotten a single sale. So that's really unfortunate to see. So let's figure out why this book has not taken off, even though it's been published for a few months. So looking at the title, it's all caps and it just says how to easy draw animals. So a couple problems here. All caps is usually not the best way to write a title. Not a huge thing, but definitely a big preference for me personally. And then second of all, there's no subtitle. So when it comes to low content books and medium content books, you definitely always want to have a subtitle. And in most cases, you probably want to have a long tail keyword in there that people are searching for, which is relevant for your niche that you're trying to target. So this is definitely a big mistake and huge missed opportunity, not having any exact match keywords in there and not having a subtitle. But the other bigger problem almost is having a title that is not grammatically correct, because how to easily draw animals just doesn't read right. If anything, it'd be how to easily draw animals, but even that is not really a keyword that a lot of people are searching for. So the main reason we're not getting sales is definitely complete mistakes with your title. And in looking at your cover, that's also definitely contributing to the lack of sales, because here it says how to easily draw animals. Once again, not the right way of saying it. And then having these images here also doesn't communicate drawing animals. It just looks like cut off animals. You can't even tell what kind of animal it is. So definitely a botched listing, unfortunately. Nothing about it screams buy my book. And when it it comes to your book listing and your book, it just has to be professional. It has to be great looking. Your cover has to be great. Your title has to be good. And basically your entire listing, because Amazon is competitive and a buyer does want a nice product as well, even if it wasn't competitive. So you really have to just create something high quality that someone wants to buy. And the only reason someone wants to buy a book is if you do everything correctly. And these days, you really have to put in more time and more effort into each book, especially your cover and your title, because that is the first thing they see. And people do judge a book based on its cover. So definitely keep that in mind. And looking here at the description, we can also see that this is really short. We don't have any intro line for it. We don't have any bullet points. We don't have any call to action at the end for someone to buy a book. So also this is a great example of what not to do. I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm not trying to point fingers, but this is just the sad truth that so far pretty much everything is a mistake. But the plus side here is that we can just take good learning points from this and make sure that you yourself don't do these mistakes. And if you don't, then you just have so much higher chances of success. So let's continue looking at this listing. So we can see we got reviews. So this author did a great job on making sure that happens. And it looks like he got a few friends or someone to buy these books, which is great. So this is definitely the one plus on this listing, is that we have the first reviews and good ones. But overall, I would unpublish this. I would redo the cover and maybe hire somebody in Fiverr for $5, $10, $20. Redo your title and your subtitle. You can use the self-publishing Titans Chrome extension and also give you 5 bullet points, a call to action, and I think you'll have a much better time. So next we have a high content book, which is great. And let's figure out what is happening here. So here we have a bestseller rank of almost 2 million and unfortunately not getting as many sales as they obviously want. So let's figure out how we can help them. And we'll start by looking at the title again. So Chalk Dust and the Olympic Promise. So this is kind of interesting because this is the second Olympic book that we had in the recent times. So the first thing that I just want to say, the Olympics are usually quite strict with using their trademark. So that's one thing I always encourage people to stay away from. Maybe in this case, this is fine and they have permission, but in vast majority of cases, I would always stay clear from any trademarks or copyrights or anything like that. Any big brands, any movie characters or things like that, just fully avoid. But otherwise, the title sounds great. The only thing we don't have here is a subtitle. So that is one thing that could have been added, but for a high content book, this could be okay. But obviously, because we don't have any keywords in your title or subtitle, we have to really make up for that in your 7 backend keywords. So we would have to figure out what kind of keywords are people searching for to find this kind of book. So that'd be a bit of research you'd have to do, and you can use the self-publishing Titans Chrome extension just by start typing in keywords in here, like we have seen before, and then it's looking at the entire popular list of suggested keywords on Amazon. So that should definitely help you. And I'm guessing that there's definitely problems with that because we are not getting any sales, or at least not currently. So I would definitely look at your 7 backend keywords and probably redo them all just to make them even better. All right, so moving along, the one thing which I really like to see is that here we have great reviews. So 4.4 star average and 26 reviews. So they definitely put in the right amount of work and efforts to make this happen. And this is definitely a great amount of reviews. So really well done for that. And the other fantastic thing I see here is that we have a Kindle version. We have an audiobook, which is amazing. We have a hardcover version and a paperback. So far, they really are doing everything right. We have a nice title, just missing keywords, but that makes sense. We have all of the book formatting types, which is fantastic. We have reviews, we have good ratings. So this book definitely deserves long-term success. And looking at the cover here, this image looks really high quality, high resolution, really nice picture, right in action. I like that the text goes in front and behind it. Really nice creative idea. I like the lighting colors. So everything is really great here. I have no suggestions for improvements. So wonderful work on that. So let's look at the rest here. So we have A+ content. So grid, grace, glory. I like this image as well. I like that we can see an ebook version here, which is great. And then here we have chapter 1. Which is cool. The only critique here is that the text is too small to read. So even when I zoom in, it's almost too small and then it gets pixelated. So this is one thing that I would change. And one thing that you could consider doing is actually just copying and pasting the text into your A+ content as text format, and then it'll be much easier to read. So that is one change I would make. And then here we have the back cover. Also a nice touch. I guess we want to highlight the back text here, in which case, if that is what we are trying to do, I would just expand the book so it's much larger so one can actually read this text, because this here is just a bit too small. I can read it once we zoom in, but looking at this like this, most people won't be able to read read it. This I can kind of read myself, but it does take a bit of strain on the eye, and it's definitely not easy. So I would just zoom that in, make it larger. And here we have chapter 2, so nice touch to show so much of the book. But this is great because it can just make someone really interested and wanting to read more. So a really nice idea, but once again, this text is too small for someone to read. So any potential buyer just cannot read this. So I would also either make this larger in some way or just have this as text format. And here we have another image. This looks like a small book, and here we have a large book. So I'm not sure why we have a small book here. That's something I would probably change because this makes it feel like it's not that big of a book when it is 200 pages and it just doesn't match that. So I would probably just make that larger or use a different image of someone holding it. But other than that, I think you did a nice job on your A+ content. So next, let's look at these categories. So gymnastics, that's a good one. Olympics and Paralympics and gymnastics. So this is all good. Great job on choosing relevant categories. And then now here we can see an author image. The one thing I could suggest is that we can make this larger because we have a lot of empty space right at the top. And since you have a great image of yourself, we can just make that larger so you can see more of your face and upper body. I think that will be nice filling that up. And then I also see here that we have a nice description. So overall, I would give you a really good rating on your listing. I think the main and maybe only problem is your 7 backend keywords, just having the right keywords. And then the other main thing that we will have to do is run Amazon ads. And if you don't have a budget for that, you definitely have to go really big on social media. So you can do videos like shorts on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and all of those places. And if you don't like being on camera, you can also do faceless videos. You can also just do picture posts on Instagram, on Pinterest, and things like that. But you definitely want to grow a brand, especially for these kinds of books. That'll be really, really important. And then just do as much marketing outside of the Amazon website as possible. So I think your book is great. It's probably one of the nicest listings overall I've seen. So definitely wish you the best of luck, and I think you can definitely do it. And for anyone else that wants me to look at their book for free, you can go to selfpublishingtitans.com/review, and I would love to help you as well. I'm doing these videos every single day, literally, and I want to help as many people as I can. So if you want to, just submit your listing right here, and then I'll get to it really fast. And then if you want to support the channel, please leave a like and a comment down below, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.